And we are live. Happy Friday. Friday's my CEO day. It's been a wild deep dive today. I don't think I've posted anything even on Instagram yet today. Uh, I've been diving deep to help my friend Mark into Clubhouse. So I spent, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours this morning on Clubhouse, joining different rooms, being a part of a room with Mark, having tons of fun in the process, just trying to deep dive even further. Clubhouse is a bunch of fun. I still like video. Video is just so much more fun. But it's good to know. It's good to know what's going on. It's good to know where we're at. Zanda Man says Clubhouse was crazy. It was a fun session. The hour flies by when we make that happen. Let's see. I'm looking for Glenn. Let's see where Glenn is. Glenn, if you're there, let me know. We'll bring you in, have some fun. Otherwise, we'll jam with you guys if you got some questions. Welcome Zachary, Mario, Melanie, Tess in the house, Zan, Jeff, Malik. I love it. Donato, Attraction Home Staging. I love it. Give me some while we wait for. Oh, Glenn's here. All right, hold on. Let's bring in Glenn. Glenn. Go live with Glenn. All right. Okay, we're trying again. This is, I think, the third time we're trying, Glenn. Let's see. Oh, it's happening.
Hey there, Evan.
We made
Greetings
it.
from historical Missionary Ridge. I don't know if you can see, but I got caught in traffic and I couldn't get through what's known as the Missionary Ridge Tunnel, so I went up on top of it. If you're a Civil War buff, you look up the Battle of Missionary Ridge. It was fought right up here on this mountain, or
All
this
right.
ridge, shall we say. I don't know.
There
Can
we
you see
go.
that?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. We finally made it.
We made it. The third time's
Yeah.
a charm. I love it. It's great. So Glenn's part of the Movement Makers, joined for a year. I'm super excited to have him. And part of that is we do an IG Live together too. So what do you got, man? How can I help?
Well, you've been mighty successful as a coach. I think you credit Tony Robbins for that. And so my question to you is, what was the biggest piece of advice that Tony gave you in growing your coaching business?
I mean, I've learned a ton from Tony over the years. One, just from afar at the beginning, reading his books and listening to the CDs back in the day, and then being able to interview him a couple times on the channel and then meeting him. The thing that I always walk away with is just raising the standards. It's whatever you thought was difficult 2 weeks ago, it's not as difficult anymore. It becomes a little bit easier.
Right.
So now you need to chase the new difficult. And there aren't a lot of people in our lives who push us in a loving way forwards to say, hey, what you're doing is great, but you could be up here now, and you have to get there. And so that's why I love Movement Makers. That's why I love hanging around Tony and other coaches of mine and mentors and heroes, because every time I'm there or I'm on a call, even just before this, I was on a call with a bunch of marketing mentors and coaches of mine. It just makes you want to do more. It just makes you want to raise your standards. It just makes you realize, you know what? I have been kind of coasting for the past 3 months. That it was difficult 3 months ago, but now it's not as difficult. I'm ready for the next level. And so having that as a constant reminder, that's probably the single greatest lesson I've learned from Tony Robbins.
Right. What's been what's the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome?
Lack of belief.
Mm-hmm.
Belief that I could have Tony Robbins on my channel at the beginning. I don't know, my first interview with him was, I want to say 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but I was scared to do that, and I didn't believe that he would say yes. And then lack of belief to the next thing, and to the next thing, and then I can believe in what I've already done, but it's still, even now, my greatest problem, blind spot, issue is lack of belief to do the next thing. And that's where coaches can really help, because they help you realize, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe I can do that. I didn't think about it that way. Let's try.
Right.
And even just in that let's try, taking that first step, you start building momentum towards actually making the thing happen.
I just had lunch with a millennial, and he's let's see, he's about 25 years old, and I predict he'll be a multimillionaire by the time he's 35. In fact, I told him, I said, if you're not, I'll kick your ass, because he's got it together. He's got about 4 things that he's running with. He's very creative, a good business head, and so regardless of what people say about millennials, and then I've been doing a lot of work with Gen Z, and I've got a lot of confidence in them also. They're those that have it together, that have the dream, that are willing to put forth the effort and take consistent action steps, even after they fall down and get bruised and have to pick themselves up by their bootstrings. Those are the ones that make it, and I enjoy working with them.
I love it, Glenn. And I think the difference today is that there's just so many more opportunities. I think people have always been good. I think we've always wanted to serve. We've always wanted to help. And I think the challenge has been the opportunities have been harder to get compared to right now. So I look at my dad. My dad is here. Like that's me when I'm 9 years old, 8 years old, and that's my dad and my mom at the time.
Right.
He just retired 2 days ago from work. 50 years of working, and we're gonna go, celebrate on the weekend, Easter tomorrow. Just some.
So what is he going to do now that he's retired?
Well, so my sister has a 1-year-old, so he's going to be doing a lot of family time. They have a whole bunch of real estate projects and investments that they're working on. So he's not just like sitting at home doing the crossword puzzle, but he's not an entrepreneur. So, but from his job that he was doing, he was retired. But I'm 40, and I look at my dad, and the opportunities available to me at 40 today compared to him at 40 when he was 40 are vastly different.
Oh yeah, most
So
definitely. Of
I
course.
think people have always been good. I think it's human to be good, and it's human to serve, and we want to serve and help. I think for him to do this at 40 when he was 40, you would have had to been crazy to be an entrepreneur. For him at his age, if he was 40, you had to be crazy. You had to be unemployable or just be really crazy to go off and do it. Where now, it's the number one job everybody wants to have, is to work for themselves. YouTuber is the number one career choice that kids graduating. Yes, kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's not astronaut. It's not doctor or nurse. It's YouTuber. People want to be their own entrepreneur now. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I'm super positive on this generation, on the next generation, and the opportunities are now there for people to actually chase down those dreams.
Well, the thing that I find about the millennials and especially the Gen Z is that they are finally, when you connect with them, and I give you a quote, and I'm claiming it, authenticity is the great connector. Think about that. Well, I've tried, you've heard my buddy Zig Ziglar used to say, I've tried it with and I've tried it without. That stuff is dirty, it's green, but goes with anything my decided redhead wife chooses to wear. Well, I've been with it and without also. That downturn in 2008 cost me about $2.5 million. I had the world by the tail. But you know what? I wouldn't be the person I am today, but for losing almost everything. But you know what? I sold my yacht. I sold it for more than I paid for it in a down economy. Now, I lost a lot of money, but again, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And so that's what I'm using to capitalize on. And that's what I found that so many of the millennials and so many of the Gen Z seem to appreciate. Hey, he's done it. He failed. He admitted he failed after 25 years of running a business. He started from ground zero with no experience after 14 years with a Fortune 50 company, of which he was the only non-engineer sold to the electric utilities throughout the United States. I discovered after I'd been hired that all my peers had double E's and M's. I had a degree in journalism and didn't like to write. But I was able to keep up with the best of them because I had that desire. And when I left, most of them thought I was an engineer. I learned a few formulas, but that I learned a lot about the corporate world there. But from my failures, where I learned the most. And I have found that seems to be characteristic. Look at Walt Disney. How many times did he bankrupt? How many times? I've yet to. I didn't bankrupt. I probably should have. It would have been a lot easier, but I just didn't. I actually paid an attorney cash, scraped up some of the last cash I had, paid him to bankrupt, and then I called him and I said, "No, I just want you to help me negotiate with the creditors. I'm just not going to do it." And I didn't. I survived. Hadn't got back where I was, but I will.
So what's the goal now? Are you trying to be the coach for millennials, or where are
Yeah,
you trying to take this?
I coach. I coach entrepreneurs. I coach millennials. I coach professional salespeople. I've got a realtor in Atlanta, Georgia, that is next week closing on his first $1.2 million property. So that'll pay his coaching fee for the well over for the first 6 months. So,
And is real estate the niche you're going after, or just age
well,
group, or who are you targeting?
I like the idea of specialization, but I've done so well with any of the entrepreneurs, as well as, real estate people are basically entrepreneurs because they're on their own. Maybe they've got a little bit of support from a broker, but it's all up to them. So they're like entrepreneurs. So I've worked with true business owners. I work with professional salespeople like realtors. I've got a home inspector that is now making more money in one morning than he used to make in 1 week in his previous career. So but what I've got to do, I've got to multiply it. I did a lot of in-person networking. And so after COVID, that went away. I do some networking virtually, but I've been looking at a way to up the game. So looking at what you were doing, I was actually in Atlanta at the Avalon Hotel last night in Alpharetta, Georgia. It's one of the first live events I've been to in a year and a half. And I just approached some people that came up and said, what do you do? I said, well, I coach and I speak. I'm a motivational. I can describe myself as a motivational, inspirational teacher that just happens to speak. And I draw on a lot of experiences, real stories that I write based on my own experiences, but my passion is in coaching. And I said, you know what coaching is? Well, I think so. And of course, everybody talks about a baseball coach and a golf coach, and it's a different animal. And I said, well, if you're interested, I'll give me your card. I'll send you a note. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do about a 90-minute program. What is coaching? And I'm going to pick 2 people randomly that will agree to be in the pool to be chosen from, and I'm going to coach them live. So I picked that up from you. Has this been one of your best sources of getting new clients?
If you want to be a coach, then yeah, live coaching is the biggest marketing opportunity in 2021. So many people are afraid to do it because they're afraid of getting exposed. Mm-hmm. That somebody's going to ask me a question that I don't know the answer to, and I don't want to. But if you're good at it, it's the best.
That's my strength. My emotional intelligence has always been very, very high. I was coaching before I had any kind of certification. And so just over the last 6 years have I started to monetize it. And 2021 is going to be my year. And you're a big part of it. You're my inspiration.
Well, I appreciate the love.
I think big. like I used to do a motivational book reading and mastermind call. I did it Monday through Thursday for a number of years. We were reading Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, one morning. We were reading about Gary Guller, the only man in the world with one arm to summit Mount Everest. I said, we ought to get Gary on the call. They said, well, you can't do that, Glenn. I said, yeah, I can. So guess who I got on the call? And actually, by the time I had arranged for him to be on the call, I had it set it up for him to be the keynote speaker for a fundraiser for a nonprofit that I like to do a lot of work with. I got to introduce him there, and he's become a very good friend. So my question is, when's Evan Carmichael going to be on my mastermind program?
I don't know. We got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Send me details.
I'm booked up. I'm booked up until it probably be June, but I do it every other Tuesday morning. Now you're in Toronto, is that correct?
Yeah.
Or where you're on Eastern time, aren't you?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm on in that part of Tennessee on Eastern time. I'm right on the Tennessee-Georgia border. Chattanooga. It's about 130 miles north of Atlanta. I live on Signal Mountain that overlooks Chattanooga, a little bedroom community up there. But we go live at 8 o'clock every other Tuesday morning from 8 until 9:30. I let my regulars introduce themselves, give their business a little plug. Then I introduce our guest. Our guest will speak for about 20 to 25 minutes. And then we go into mastermind time where we engage with one another and with our guest speaker concerning the content of his or her topic. And so I'd love to have you on.
Well, let's send me some details on it, and let's see if we can get some dates. In terms of what you're doing, like you mentioned Zig Ziglar, and people see him just as a speaker from stage, but he's also a great coach, or was a great
coach.
He's a
great coach. I've met other people like my friend Don Green, who knows Napoleon Hill better than Napoleon Hill knew himself. He's the president and executive director of the Napoleon Hill Foundation.
So imagine if we had to, Zig is such a legend, and it's painful that a lot of people don't actually know him because he was a little too soon, he wasn't in the YouTube era and generation. We've been working actually with his son to try to spread the message more, preserve the legacy. It's a passion of mine. But imagine if there were videos. I haven't seen a Zig Ziglar coaching video. I've seen his speaking videos, and I've seen it. He's the way, the rhythm, the storytelling, the messaging is just on point. If you guys don't know Zig Ziglar, do yourself a favor and go watch a couple of his videos because you'll be blown away. But imagine if we could see some coaching videos of him.
Yeah.
That's what I'd love to see from you. I would, in this format, right? Like this, you could bring somebody else in and coach them, and all you have to do is show up and say, hey, how can I help?
Well, and then I'm going to do it in 2 weeks. I've got to set the date and time. I noticed, what time do you start your program, and which days of the week do you do it?
I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
2
p.m. this time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
You do it 2 p.m. Eastern time. How long do you do it for?
Usually 25 minutes.
Have on.
I do one a day for 25 minutes. Don't do 2 o'clock because now we're competing, Glenn. Okay, pick 2:30 or 1:30 or something else.
All right.
No, pick whatever time you want. I don't think the time really matters that much. If you do it first thing, like at 6:30 in the morning, okay, you're going to lose some people, or you're going to have a UK crowd or something. But I wouldn't worry so much about the time. Just make it consistent, so you start to train people what time. And at the beginning, because you're building your profile and your account, people won't know that you're doing this. So you book your first guests at the beginning, just like actually Sandra helped us book this. Right. You book your first guest. So anybody who's in your group already, as part of your mastermind, you can say, hey, do you want 25 minutes of free coaching with me? We'll do it on Instagram. No charge. Come on. And you book your first couple weeks of guests who are going to come on, and you're going to coach them. And then the deal becomes, and this is great for anybody who wants to be a coach, You do free coaching live, but it's public in a format like this. And you could do it from your car, you could do it from your home, you could do it walking out on the ridge, as long as you have, you know, a cell phone signal. Don't do it in a tunnel. um, and then some people will say, hey, can I be next? Can I, like, if we didn't have this, there are people who want to come live with me and have me coach them, right? But
Right.
You're here, we booked this, so we're doing it. But otherwise, it'd be somebody else coming in and doing it. So some people will volunteer and say, hey, how do I get some of Glenn's time and make this happen? And other people will say, I don't want to make my issues public. I don't want people to know kind of what I'm struggling with, but can I hire you? Do you have a program? I was like, yes, I do. You know, you can join my mastermind. You can hire me as your coach, right? And so you're building the profile. It also is a service, right? Like some people who can't afford coaching services, you're still serving them through the content, and they can learn and try to get to the point where maybe they could afford to hire a coach. So I would love to see a daily show where you're going live for 30 to 60 minutes, coaching somebody,
right,
helping them get an aha moment. And if you combine your empathy and your compassion and your storytelling and you just got your frequency, which is nice.
You know, the most dramatic coaching experience I ever had, I had a PhD that was an international speaker that called me right at the beginning of COVID. He was absolutely devastated. He said, Glenn, I got to have a coach. He said, I don't know what to do. The rug's been pulled out from under me. And in 30 minutes time, and this is unusual, but I got to the root of it. And you know what he'd done? He had reverted to a 6-year-old boy. He lived out from Atlanta, Georgia now, but he had reverted to a 6-year-old boy in Michigan when his father had asked him to go out and shovel snow. He didn't want to shovel snow. He wanted to stay inside where it was warm and watch TV. And so after pretending to shovel for a few minutes, his father said, okay, wimp, just go on back inside. And so that was the life he was living. He felt that he was a failure in the eyes of his father, and that was the way he was feeling during COVID. And of course, he was a PhD, so he immediately saw where he said, God, I got it. And he got online and started doing virtual stuff, and he's just Zooming again. And I didn't mean, no pun meant with Zoom and Zooming, but he does use Zoom a lot, and it's amazing. But
now imagine if that was filmed.
Yeah. So
right. So I believe it. So that's a start. So listen, who here wants to be the first? Who wants to go live on a future episode on Glenn's show? Who wants to be the first person to be coached by Glenn live on his Instagram? Erasmo, how about you, Erasmo? Who wants to go live with Glenn? We're gonna get some. We'll book your first guest right here.
All right, that's good.
Erasmo is a fellow movement makers as well. He's a hustling entrepreneur from Texas. Angela wants to go live with you. She'll do it. Christian Vonet 13 wants to do it. Erasmo's in. He wants to do it. Ollie Coach says me.
Well,
Tess
any
says
of those
me.
that are interested, just message me. It's Glenn, Glynn, at glennhodges.com is the easiest way. And I even give out my cell number. It's 423-667-2685. Send me a text.
Okay, well, Glenn, we gotta make this work on Instagram. We gotta get your Instagram game on another level now, because we're gonna be coaching on Instagram. So
okay.
Guys, I want you could see his name right here. I want you to DM him immediately after this and say, hey, I want to do the coaching. And Glenn will go live with you. And awesome. whatever problems you've got that you think Glenn could give some perspective on, you make it happen.
Well,
put it in the comments. What's your at? I'm going to put it in the comments right now. It's GLYNN and then double N, right?
Yeah, 2 N's. Glenn,
yeah, and then
HYNN-HODGES.
Yes, yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, I just put it here in the chat. I'm going to pin it.
And
Angela, Who
I'll
do we got?
get
We got
Instagram kind of re-engineered. You can tell I haven't done anything with Instagram.
well,
So
now this is, hey, this is, you said this is
we're
your
going to do
year.
it now.
This is your year, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Houston, Angela, John, Jan, Christy, Tessa, Ollie, Erasmo. Did I say Angela already? Angela, Christian. Okay. 10 people. I want you to DM Glenn and let him know that you're in. And then I want to see some good content coming from you. I want to
All
see
right,
some
we'll
lives
do it.
change,
Evan,
Glenn.
thank you, buddy. You know,
Awesome. Thank you.
I think of Ziglar again. You help enough other people get what they want, and you'll get what you want.
And that's a way to end it. I love it. Thank you,
Take
man.
care. Love
Safe
you.
driving home.
Remember,
Have a great
your
Easter.
day will be just as good as you visualize it. I'm out of
I
here.
love it.
Thanks a lot,
I
buddy.
love it. Much love,
I'll be
Glenn.
in
Cheers.
touch with you about being on my mastermind.
Perfect.
Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.